What's going on, guys? Kevin the Gents here with Lucas. And what did you do this past weekend?
I finished 18th place at the Proto-YCS Richmond, Virginia.
Awesome. What deck were you playing?
I was playing Artmage Eldlich. I was the only one that was playing it to my knowledge. There were some other Artmage players, but they were playing all like pure, and I was the only one to spice it up a little bit.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
All right. To start with the Artmage cards, we have the 3 Medius, and the 2 Power Patron, 2 Littera, and 2 Graflair, to round it out with 2 Finmill. So, reason I played 2 Finmill, which she might normally just be a 1 of, is because we got the new Fusion monster that you can actually contact Fusion into her by tributing Finmill from field or hand and discarding her spell trap to summon her. So there'd be times where I'd draw just her and then like an Eldlich trap or any spell trap really, and then summon this, and then she'd get you to the field spell. So that was the reasoning on 2 Finmill. All right, moving on to the Eldlich monsters. We got 2 Golden Lord. 3 is way too many, 2 is the perfect amount. And he was good because this guy is honestly pretty decent for breaking boards. You can like send him in a spell and trap to target a card they control, send it to the grave. And then if it was hopefully like Sanguine or the other Eldlichs are white, you can banish set 1, and then you can just send that, summon him. He's at 35, 38, can't destroy card effects, and you can punch over something. Or you could even like contact and fuse him off into the contact fusion we'll get to, and then threaten Mad Golden Lord. So he's honestly pretty decent for breaking boards and just a decent body.
All right.
For the Artmage spell and traps, for the 1-ofs, we got the Pact and the Succession. Pact is basically on field, you can fusion summon a Medius or Artmage, and then for the rest of the turn, you have Meltdown for like your fusion summons. Succession is just a quick play fusion spell for basically anything as long as you use at least an Artmage. I normally would use it to go into Guardian Chimera, but due to points, I decided to cut Guardian Chimera because this is the only card I could summon it with. But I could still summon other things, like my Super Poly targets, for example, or just for Nerva. And if you have the field spell when you summon it, it gets 500 attack permanently. So that's kind of cool to make Nerva 3800, can't destroy card effects. Helps for dealing with problem cards like Liger or whatever. Or even Magnus now. I played against the freaking Super Quantal. For the 3-ofs, we got the 3 Alterations. It's basically places the field spell from deck, or if you already have the field spell, it's Rhoda for any Artmage card. 3 Vandalism. This lets you bridge from Artmage to Medius. It lets you search Medius. You try to prioritize this card as much as possible before activating the field spell because it has the Fire King Sanctuary protection where if the field spell is destroyed, you can destroy this instead. And then it has an ignition effect to turn a monster into an Artmage for if it's going to use his fusion material. That comes up sometimes, but it's cool. And then obviously the field spell itself, the Acropolis. This one lets you send or discard a spell or trap to call out an Artmage name and add it to your hand, as long as you haven't already called it or it's not on your field. So the idea with this in the Eldlichs is that I would ditch Eldlich traps and then get my stuff, and then the Eldlich traps would then banish and set new ones in the end phase. So it's basically like I'm not actually negging, I'm actually plussing. So that was the idea there, and it worked out really well. For the Eldlich engine, we got 3 Cursed Eldland. This plus the field spell is like crazy together because this basically just searches out your golden lands, which are the best ones to discard. And then we had 3 Conquistador, 3 Haquero, and 3 Sanguine. These are probably the best 6 to ditch for the field spell. These are the next best up, and I played 1 Eldlixir of the White Destiny, which is basically another Sanguine, but just a different name. So that way if I had like 2 of these engraved, I could set different names, so that way I'd have multiple ways to summon Golden Lord, and not just have 2 Sanguines. And then 1 of the new Eldlixir of the Glorious Golden Land. This card's really good. It's not good, it doesn't have a graveyard effect, so it's not like super like you want to play a lot of it, but it's definitely worth playing because it has the effect, you can pay 800 and either set back one of your banished Golden Lands or Elixirs, or you can summon it as a monster, and if you have Golden Lord, you can bounce a monster non-targeting, which was great to either bounce my stuff or their stuff, and it is a level 10, so you can use it for rank 10 fodder, so really good there. Okay, and then the last 3 cards to round out the deck was 3 Super Polymerization. So it was a 40 card 1 main deck. My 41st card was a second Finmill, which I thought would come up more than anything. And I thought about cutting the quick play fusion spell for Artmage, but it came up because it has the graveyard effect to banish and recycle 3 Artmages with different names, so it had its uses. So, but usually it got sided out.
Gotcha.
All right, extra deck. We have, for the Artmages, we have 2 Deactorus. Oh, that's not Deactorus. 2 Deactorus. He's the Omni for any effect on field, as long as you have 3 different types. If he dies, he floats into Medius from anywhere but grave. And then he can change the battle position monster, which doesn't really matter other than the fact that it's good to trigger. It's an easy way to trigger Nerva without losing anything. Then we had Non-Finito, the new one. She's 15 points, which is a little harsh, but honestly, she's just another way to get the engine going. So sometimes where you like didn't really open up a lot of spell and traps, you would try to prioritize making her over Dioctora, so that way, because she can set one, and then the Owl could add one, so you get 2 spell and traps that way. Very nice. And then on the opponent's turn, you can perform a fusion summon with monsters you control for anything. So what I tried to do is try to either use her effect to go into Nerva, or try to use her effect to go into the Mad Golden Lord with the Eldlich that I summoned off the traps or Sanguine and whatnot. And then obviously we have the Nerva Power Patron. He's only 5 punch, which is crazy, because basically you can change any Artmage effect into monster effect to blow up your opponent's board, which is wild. And then if you have a field spell, you can't be killed by card effects. And he also has another summoning condition where you can contact fusion him and defense mode, which is really nifty with the Fallen Angel of the Glorious Land. You can tribute him off for this guy and then trigger his effect and summon Mad Golden Lord, which is really easy to get this guy out.
That's pretty neat.
Indeed. So then we have obviously the Fallen guy, which basically is just a contact fuse with Golden Lord, or if you have Golden Lord, you can tribute off any of your other zombie traps or zombies. And then obviously we have the the Mad Golden Lord. He's just 38, 35, can't be killed by card effects or battle, so very hard to deal with. And you can tribute a zombie to take one of your opponent's monsters permanently. But you can't attack or activate his effects, I think, for that turn.
That's still really good, though.
Still really good, yes. Like this guy, like this alone, like threatens things. Like this is how I beat the Super Quantal Magnus, game 1 in round 11. As I kept summoning this, she'd spin it back, and then the second time I summoned this, after she had whittled down her materials, I finally was able to go to battle phase with this, crash, and then summon this and run over Magnus, which is only 3,600. So that was really nice. And then basically the rest are honestly, for fusions or super poly targets. We had Secretarion. This was Guardian Chimera, but like I said, I needed more point flexibility, so I cut that. So I got Secretarion for like Draco Tail, which is still somehow in Genesys, and some other stuff. And I could actually make it myself with because Latera and Groflair are Spellcaster and Dragon. So if I want to summon my own, I can. We had Starving Venom, Dragostapella. This is more like for just random dark decks. This is kind of like for Heka Hands. We had Theseus, which is for Cool Tunes. And then we had Guru and Mudragon, the ones that were actually probably getting summoned the most. I didn't get to play against any Cool Tunes, so this didn't come up. These didn't come up, this didn't come up, but the options are always nice to have. And then for XYZs, we had Pallades, which is really not too hard to summon. Basically just 2/5 level lights, which is Groflair, and any of my Eldlich monster traps, Conquistador and Haquero. Those are all 5 lights. So this was really nice. This is, once I could make this, I could really feel confident. And then we had the trains, rank 10s. This guy can get up to 6k and attack monsters once for each material. Very nuts. So these guys were nice to have to get over big guys.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the side deck. For board breakers, I had 3 Sphere Mode. My reason on Sphere Mode is not every deck is ending on 3 monsters. The ones that are definitely a problem to deal with. And honestly, the field spell with this guy and a way to Medius was really nice, because this gives me an extra normal summon for Medius to appear. So if I can Sphere Mode them and activate field spell and still normal summon regular my Medius, because I don't usually need 2 normal summons outside of this card. So this was like really great. I didn't want to do like Lava Golem, because Lava Golem just takes away your normal summon, and I still want to be able to normal summon this. So I know some people are on fusion deployment for the Pure, which is fine, but honestly I feel like I had plenty of ways to Medius anyways, so I didn't see the reason for that card. And then other board breakers was 3 evenly. This is where the more my Guardian Chimera points went to, is I really wanted a good card going second to deal with boards outside of just Sphere Mode. That could also double up on back row. And then my back row removal card was Cosmic Cyclone, which I figured banishing is pretty good, and I didn't want to do Twin Twisters because I actually kind of need my hand for the field spell. And then my only hand trap is Artifact Lancia. It's 0 points. It did come in. I got to play against Ghoti, which Ghoti loves to banish, so you hit him with this.
Oh, wait.
They're not as happy. Unfortunately, I did double loss against the guy, and it's my bad. I should have given him the win. But this card, if I had seen it game 3, maybe it wouldn't have gone my way. Who knows? But yeah, this card's crazy. It's also decent against Monarchs. I did it against Monarchs on Extreme, and his hand was kind of weak, so it helped me not get hand looped that turn. Unfortunately, I still lost because he had double Mistaken Arrest. But,
oh, man.
But this card is good in theory. And there's some other random decks that banish enough that make you want to play this. You can do this against Exosister with you going first, because then they can't banish your stuff with like Magnifica and Michaelis. You could also do this against Ritual Beast if you see that. This will completely shit on Ritual Beast. Yeah, card probably should be points, but I'll play it because it's 0. And then for going first, I had Golden Land Forever and 2 strikes. I was doing the Iron Counter Trap.
Iron Call, I believe it is.
No, not Iron Call. Something else. Iron Breaker or something. But basically this it answers monster effects everywhere, whereas the iron counter trap only answers effects on the cards and effects on the field. So I was like, well, those would be more like solemn judgments. I was noticing and testing that Sheena, the new hand trap for Radiant Typhoon, just craps on Artmage, because outside of this, I don't have any omnis to deal with hand effects. So I really needed something to answer a card like that. So that was where the Solemn Strike came in, and that also can hit like extra deck summons like XYZ, Synchros, etc. So they're not bad at all. And then obviously this card was just tributed zombie to do an omni basically.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Basically that's the list. List played really well. For my matchups, my day one I finished 6-1. I had a round one double loss against. I was playing against a kid who's just kind of taking too long to make actions and plays because he just loved to talk. I probably should have called a judge, but I think it set me off on a decent win streak because I was playing against people in the losers bracket. But he was playing White Forest, and I played against a couple Mimighoul and a couple Tistina Tearlament, which I knew one of them, which was kind of a bummer that I had to play and beat him. And then I played against Fire Kings and Water, which the Fire King match was really fun. The Water was decent. The Water, I feel kind of bad because Water is pointed pretty heavily. So it was like, it's a cool deck. It's just, could probably do some lax on the next pointless. And then day two, I played against Monarchs on stream round 8. He won the Dyro, which I was really afraid of because I knew he was playing Monarchs. And I did not want to lose the Dyro against that. So anyways, I got double hand ripped game 1 and pretty much just lost from there. Game 2, I got to go first and set up my crazy board, and I won. Game 3, I had the Lancium, didn't get hand ripped, but then a double mistaken arrest just crapped on my deck. And then round 10, I played against the Ghoti, which was the one I should have just gave him the win. And but that was a very fun match. We had a very fun game 1. Ghoti's a very cool deck. I'd love to see that more in Genesys. And he was playing a lot of cool fish decks. Like I knew what the Ghoti cards did, but then he was playing all these other fish decks. I was like, I didn't know fish had this much support, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have a lot.
Yeah, and then round 10, I played against Exosister. That one just kind of came down whoever went first and who drew non-engine. And unfortunately, I won the die roll, and we didn't. And of your game, we didn't really draw any non-engine going second, so it was pretty self-determined. And then round 11, I played on stream against Super Quantal. So that was another like, I do not want to go second against this deck. I don't know how to deal with their 3,600 towers that drolls you essentially while it has 6 or more materials. And well, I still came back game 1 grinding with Eldlich cards. Didn't do like crap with Artmage because they all need to search for the most part. But I was able to finally beat over it as I described earlier in the deck profile. And then game 2, she went first, made the Magnus again. I drew Sphere Mode in 4 Eldlicks, and I was like, maybe I can grind it out again. But then she goes Heavy Storm on her follow-up. I was like, yep, GG, game 3. And then game 3, I just made it basically an unbreakable board. So, yeah, it was really fun. Kind of bummed my tiebreakers were kind of donkey-dong, but as I guess a lesson to those and myself, try to avoid double losses at every chance you can, even if that means scooping when you don't feel like you should, just to not have a double loss. And yeah, I feel like it was a great event. I got to talk to Jerome, Yumi, and AJ, which are all Konami reps, and it was really cool. I got to kind of share my thoughts and my positive affirmations about it. Some other actual real YouTubers got to share their thoughts with some more criticisms. I was just trying to be positive, so I didn't want to try to criticize them. I was just kind of saying, I think this is really cool. I had a lot of fun Yu-Gi-Oh! And honestly, this was the most fun I had in a long time. Like, my games were longer. The matches felt way more back and forth, and I felt like there were more turns to it, while still having a lot of complexity and, strategizing and all that. So I feel like if you are getting a little sick of advanced and want something just a little bit slower pace, but still modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, give Genesys a try, and I think you'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Cool. Any shout outs you got want to give?
Shout out to Galaxy Buster TCG out of Otisville, Michigan for supporting me in all their ways. Shout out to Chase for being my main testing partner. And I guess just shout out to all the other homies in Muskegon for being who they are. And yeah, cool beans. Yeah, this is Clean Kai the Jet sign out. And also, big remember, fuck Well Kept Joey and the Lags. Fuck Duty Yu-Gi the Boys. Worst channels on the planet, do not subscribe to them. All right, that's all. Peace.